How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Flame, and we are back with FPL Game Week 28, blank Game Week 28. We have our team up on the screen for the moment. We're going to be doing all the normal things that we normally do. We'll just check out our clean sheets, differential picks, check out our predictions from last week as well, and we're going to see how we did. I usually keep it tracked in the old notebook here. And we'll see how we did. Last time I remember, we did okay, not great, but okay in terms of predictions. And it's a bit weird. Sometimes we predict all the games to go perfectly right, and our team does badly. And then sometimes we predict no games right, and then our team does well. And then sometimes it's bad and good and good. But hopefully it's good and good in this coming week. Like I said, this is the team I have for last week up on the screen. We got 54 points minus 4 because we took a hit with our 3 transfers. We're sitting at 1,551 points, and we're just outside the top 150k. We'd like to get back in the top 50k as soon as possible, so we're looking for hopefully a breakout week this week. Here are the fixtures that we had in game week 27. We're just going to bring across our tweet here in a second. Yeah, an interesting game week. Some games didn't go the way that people had expected. Some games did go the way they had expected, but not by certainly the scoreline. A lot of people bench boosted for this game week as well. If you had Burnley players, obviously, you were obviously smiling. If you had differential Wolves players, you were potentially smiling as well. But yeah, let's see how we did. So we said Spurs would win 2-1. It was actually the other scoreline. So technically we got the scoreline right, but unfortunately for us, it was the wrong one. So that is going to be an X for that. Burnley Bournemouth, we said it would be a draw. Burnley won 3-0, so we got that wrong. We got the Crystal Palace scoreline wrong as well. We had the score the wrong way around, unfortunately. We said Sheffield United would win 1-0 over Brighton. It ended up being a draw. We got a result correct. We got the Aston Villa to lose versus Southampton. We said 2-1 though, and it was 2-0. We said City would beat Leicester. It ended up being 2-1. We said 1-0, so we still get the result for that. We said United would beat Watford 2-0. They actually ended up going beyond expectations. They ended up beating them 3-0, so we get 1 point for that as well. The Wolves scoreline we got exactly right. The Arsenal scoreline we almost had exactly right, but they managed to nick one later on. So that is an incorrect result. We said Liverpool would beat West Ham 2-0. They ended up winning 3-2, so we ended up getting 1 point for that. So overall, we get 7 points in total. Not terrible, but could be better. You know, we could be doing better. A little bit better than last week. Not our all-time high of 12. And basically, if you don't know our scoring, the way it works is you get 1 point for basically if you guess a team won, drew, or lost. If you get the exact score right, you get 3 points, and anything else is 0. Clean sheets, we got Wolves correct. We did not get Henderson because obviously he conceded. Willy Volley was a good choice for us. He got a clean sheet. Sadio Mane was a good choice for us. He got bonus points and scored. And Igalo came on. He looked good. He is good. Was good in midweek. Obviously against Bruges, getting his first goal for the club. It looked quite lively, but it did not do anything for United. But did make a substitute appearance, so he did at least get a point for those there. So a 3 out of 5 for that. Not terrible. Looking for that one game where we just get a lot of scores. We get the double digits, and then we get all the predictions for the clean sheet and differential picks correct. So what were the surprises this week? So Chelsea, obviously in a game where they're versus the top 6, they actually won and played quite well. It was quite a dominating performance for them overall. Bournemouth showing that they're slipping lower and lower in the table. Not keeping a consistent run of form, and potentially could be on their way in the relegation battle. Newcastle, I thought that they would do something in this game versus Palace, but unfortunately they did not. They weren't able to score. Basically, it seems like if a defender doesn't score for them, they don't score at all. Yeah, and then Palace finally scored. It was off a free kick that was well struck. I believe it was Patrick Van Arnold that scored it. So yeah, Palace obviously getting a win that they needed to obviously keep themselves out of the relegation zone. Sheffield United 1-1 with Brighton. Potentially a fair result, but obviously Sheffield United would have felt that they could have done a little bit better. Southampton just showing dominance over Aston Villa, and without a Danny Ings goal. As we can see, it was Shane Long and Armstrong that scored the goals for them. Manchester City versus Leicester. Obviously, City needing a win. Leicester slipping lower and lower, and could potentially be looking at the people below them now instead of the people above them. But now that their few tough games are out of the way, they have a sea of green, and hopefully they can get back to winning ways for certain Leicester assets. Man United getting the win they much deserved and much needed versus Watford. Obviously, the new signing Bruno Fernandes getting a goal and an assist in that game. Marshall getting a goal, and Greenwood getting a goal as well. So, very good overall performance. And they're going to need those types of performances against the teams that they have coming up, because they have Everton, City, Spurs. I want to say there's one other in there that could be tricky as well. Let's see. I believe it's Everton next, then it's City, Spurs, and then it's Sheffield United, right? So quite tough fixtures, and then Brighton away isn't obviously a gimme either. Wolves beating Norwich 3-0. That's just, I mean, typically Wolves play better against the top six, but I'm playing pretty consistent all the way through the year. Norwich haven't been great and will most likely be relegated as well. And I thought Wolves would concede in this game, but to my surprise, they did not. Usually against the teams that they should beat, they tend to be a little bit more grindy against them, I guess. I was expecting more of like a 2-1 potentially. But I'm pretty sure I did put down 3-0 just because of how bad Norwich was, and it actually came through. But I was more of like kind of thinking that, yeah, is 3-0 likely? We'll just put it there. Arsenal obviously getting a late winner over Everton. They're also being knocked out of Europa League midweek, which makes that they only have the Premier League basically to get back into Europe. So they're going to be looking to try to get at least 6th spot or 7th potentially if City's ban go through. Liverpool obviously getting a come from behind victory versus West Ham. They were quite fortunate in this game, although I don't like to use that term, but they did have to create chances in order to score, and it just so happened that one of them went through the keeper's hands to tie the game up. And then obviously a brilliant work of play to get Sadio Mane the game-winning goal. Could have had potentially a second, but he was ruled offside by VAR. So, if we look at our team, obviously we have quite a bit of points on the bench, which is unfortunate. It's not the greatest here. We do have a lot of points on the bench, and we don't like to see that, but you have to deal with what you're dealt with, basically. So Dean Henderson obviously got his 2 points. It would be better obviously playing McCarthy. We would have had 5 more points there. Calvert-Lewin would have obviously been better than the likes of Traore or Grealish. And same goes for Soyuncu. Over lunchtime. Bit tired today. Maybe it's because I know that the weekend's coming and I can catch up on some sleep or something. I don't know. But anyways. We've Captain Mane, who is quite good for us. Got us 16 points, 8 points total. Obviously, Trent would have been the better captain. But overall, pretty happy with the team. Obviously, our new transactions in Bali and Jimenez came in through for us. Jimenez getting, I believe it was a goal. Yes, it was a goal. For his points, I was looking like he got an assist, but he got a yellow card early on as well. So him getting a goal, Bali getting a clean sheet. Trent obviously getting 2 assists, clean sheet. Salah getting a goal. Mane getting a goal, some bonus points. It's quite good. It could have been a really good game week if we had put in Calvert-Lewin in and McCarthy in. But obviously against the big 6 teams, you don't know what you're going to get. And I thought we'd favor Henderson over McCarthy. yeah, that's basically how it worked out. We ended up being slightly above the average by 5 points. With our even with our -4. However, the top 10K was I believe it was like 53 or 54, so we did go slightly down in rank, unfortunately. For the fixtures this week, we can bring across our little notepad as we always do. Norwich versus Leicester. Well, if Wolves can beat them 3-0, Leicester surely should be able to beat them 3-0. And I think Leicester need this win because they're starting to be looking down below them. They're starting to think, guys, if we don't fix up here, we could see United passes, we could see Sheffield United passes, we could see a bunch of people passing us, you know. And you definitely don't want to get drawn into that. They're looking for based on their start this year, for Champions League form. Crystal Palace obviously coming off a good win versus Newcastle. I just think Brighton will probably be too much for them, though. I think Brighton will win the game 2-1. Chelsea versus Bournemouth. Now, Chelsea typically are playing better away from home. I feel that they should beat Bournemouth. And the yawns are getting in the way now. And Bournemouth have just been bad recently. So I think Chelsea will win the game. I think they'll score a decent bit of goals. I think the scoreline will be 3-1. Newcastle versus Burnley is pretty interesting because they're both teams that like to defend and they're not going to expose each other, you know, on the break, because Burnley's not particularly quick on the break and Newcastle's breaking pace is obviously one-dimensional with St. Maximin because Almiron is a headless chicken and Joe Linton is terrible, basically. So I think we could expect a set piece aside and get a 1-1 draw out of this game. West Ham obviously being rejuvenated on a close, a narrow loss versus Liverpool, so they may be trying to bring something back here. I still think Southampton will be a bit good for them. I don't think Southampton will keep a clean sheet for some reason. I just think that West Ham will score. So they can score against Liverpool, they can score against anybody. I think Southampton win the game 2-1. Watford, United played against Watford last week. The scoreline was 3-0. Watford could have potentially scored early on. Could have potentially changed the outcome of the game. I think Liverpool will be a bit too much for Watford. Oh, yeah. I gotta get some more sleep, clearly. I was woken up early today. But nonetheless, Watford, I think, will definitely score. I think that Liverpool will get the win. I think they'll score 3 like they did in their last outing, but concede 1 less. Manchester United versus Everton. This is an interesting prospect here because Everton are playing decently at the moment. United are playing decently at the moment. So something's basically got to give. I think that United needs a win like this out of the Everton, City, Spurs, Sheffield United. You're looking to take 9 points from that at least. If you want to be challenging, because you have easier fixtures to end off the season, but in the tough fixtures you want to be picking up points when other teams have easy ones just to keep pace. So, like as an example, Spurs play Wolves. That could be drop points for either team there, which favors United. Chelsea play Bournemouth. If they slip up there, we could potentially pass them. Leicester obviously playing Norwich. They should win that game, so they'll probably be fine. Sheffield United has a blank game week this week, so we don't want to give them an advantage that they already would have in points lead. So I think United should win this game. I think United will concede, but I think United will score more goals than Everton. I want to say 3-1, but I'm going to go with a 2-1 win. The Wolves-Spurs game, I think Wolves will end up jamming this one out. And I think it'll actually be a 2-0 victory. I think Wolves potentially get one early. Spurs will have to come out of their shell, and I think Wolves will get one late. Very similar to kind of how the Liverpool-Spurs final played out in the Champions League. Not as early as a goal as Liverpool, but we'll get an early goal. Spurs have basically not many attackers going forward, with Son out, Kane out. They're playing with these auxiliary type strikers, and Mourinho just keeps seeming to chop and change everything. So in terms of clean sheets, well, Leicester, good clean sheet option this week, obviously against Norwich. If Wolves can get a clean sheet, so can Leicester. Patricio will probably be a good goalkeeper because Spurs will probably still have shots, but whether they're good quality shots that Patricio will be able to save, we'll have to see. Dunk, I think, is a good option here. I think Crystal Palace could be susceptible to some set pieces for Brighton. Dunk obviously can take free kicks as well. There's a potential for a clean sheet here. I put 2-1 in my prediction, but the potential for a clean sheet there. And then we'll pair these last two together for Leicester. Barnes and Vardy. I think these two have a good connection together when on form. I think that they've shown the best partnership, obviously with Barnes making runs to the back post, with Vardy bursting through the middle, or Vardy potentially going out wide on the break, and then Barnes bursting through the middle. I think both of these guys need to start. I think Leicester need to go back to their old ways when they were playing at the beginning of the season, a 4-3-3. If indeed he's fit, which we can actually just check here. He should be available. I know he's got a little bit of a flag here, but I believe he was potentially cleared. If he's not, then obviously you have to play somebody else in there. But you want to get back to the 4-3-3 playing style, so where you can have Tielemans playing more box-to-box and Maddison playing more of the attacking midfielder. Barnes out one side, Ozzy Perez or Albrighton out the other side, and Vardy through the middle. So that's how I think the predictions are going to go this week. In terms of our actual starting lineup, so we're actually going to go over to the transfer page quickly after I set this up here. There we go. There we are. We're on the transfer page there. Just making sure that that's set up. I've got to bring this down just a touch here so everyone can see it. There we go. So we're on the transfer page here. We did make one transfer. We took out Jack Grealish actually for Harvey Barnes. Jack Grealish obviously having a blank game week this week. His fixtures obviously aren't as good in upcoming weeks. So if we look at them here, we can see that obviously he has a blank game week. He has Leicester away, which is okay potentially. Chelsea at home's probably not great, but he could potentially create something. Newcastle away can be tough. It is a relegation fight, so it is going to be something that Newcastle are going to be up for. Wolves at home. Wolves are very hard to score against. Liverpool, Man United, two hard games there. Crystal Palace at home is doable. Everton away, not the greatest either. Arsenal at home could be very easy. And then West Ham away. Now we would be looking to bring him back in, obviously, for the double game week that he could have. But that's what we used to utilize the wild card for. So if he has a game week where it's like Crystal Palace at home, Sheffield United at home, potentially something in that. But we brought in Harvey Barnes. We brought him in because he was a cheap one swap option. Obviously good fixtures, at least for the next 4 game weeks for sure. And then some not as easy fixture, but definitely doable fixtures in the up to game week 36. Then obviously 2 tough ones to end the season. But yeah, that's kind of how we went with it. We decided to basically keep Lundstrom and Sidibe just because we know that Sidibe is playing. Lundstrom obviously has a blank. We have a lot of value tied up in him. We had a decent bit of value tied up in Grealish, but nowhere near as what we had in Lundstrom, because Lundstrom we have 0.4, whereas Grealish I think we only had 0.2. And Grealish is very easy to just swap back, basically, because we basically have the money for it. And we could potentially look to bring him back, like I said, on a wild card. Whereas Lundstrom, we only want to get rid of him indefinitely when we know he's not playing. And it seems like he's not playing over Sander. I think it's Sander Berger. I don't think it's how you pronounce his name. Regardless, this is what our team looks like. So we only have one goalkeeping option this week. It's McCarthy is away to West Ham. Hopefully it keeps a clean sheet for us. Henderson obviously with a blank, as is Lundstrom, which means we play our 3 best defenders, Soyuncu, Trent Alexander-Arnold, and Willy Bolly. We chose Bolly over the at-home Sidibe. I just feel that United will score versus Everton. They've been quite good, whereas I don't think Spurs have potentially the ability to score versus Wolves, as Wolves are a bit more resilient. Harvey Barnes obviously comes straight in. We obviously transferred him so we could play 4 in midfield. And it also makes it flexible that if one of our midfielders or defenders doesn't play, a defender can come in, whereas before we just had 4 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers, and we had nobody on the bench. So basically Sidibe, we know, will probably get a substitution appearance, if not a start. So if somebody doesn't play, at least we have one person coming off the bench, which we're a bit more comfortable with, even if it is against the team that I want to win the game, basically. Mane, we have captained versus Salah. If we look at the last time they played Watford, where would it be? There it is. It was 2-0 win at home. Mane got an assist and a clean sheet. Mohamed Salah got 2 goals. So that was obviously at home. In terms of away form, let's actually compare that. So in terms of away form this season, we have Mane with a return, didn't play, substitute appearance, didn't score, got a return, didn't play, got a return, none. So Sadio Mane, away from home, he's not getting, he's not scoring every time, but it is pretty consistent across the board. If we look at Salah, away, nothing, small return, nothing, didn't play, nothing, didn't play, big return, nothing, small return, nothing, big return, nothing. So for the most part, Salah is either nothing away from home or everything. So it's a bit swing. So it seems like Mane seems to be a bit more, I guess, consistent, you want to say, away from home. Seems to be returning a little bit more on average. But obviously, Salah seems to shoot more, and that was evident in their game versus West Ham as well. Salah was definitely shooting more. Mane obviously had the one touch and in the back of the net. I think I'm going to stick with Mane this week personally for captaincy, just because I just feel like obviously the numbers show they're a little bit, that's obviously rough, but it seems like he's a bit more consistent. He's going to generally get you slightly higher points total on average in the away fixtures, even with less shots. And it could potentially be something whereas maybe Salah gets a rest this week, knowing that they have a Champions League tie coming up, and Mane is obviously fresher. Obviously, he did come off an injury, but could potentially be some rotation there. But we have the captaincy and the vice captaincy on both. I think I'm definitely going to stick with Mane. And then moving on, we have Traore and Jimenez, obviously the two Wolves lads. Hopefully Traore gets started this week. He's been out for the last 2 game weeks, I want to say, all coming off the bench. Not sure if that's due to just fatigue or whatnot, but I think he should start this week, especially versus Spurs, considering Spurs are probably going to play 5 down the back, and you need someone like Traore to basically extend their back line and provide the width. Calvert-Lewin obviously comes in up front, and Danny Ings is up front as well for us versus Man United and West Ham respectively. Yeah, it's not really much to the lineups this week. In terms of our transfer value, I don't think much has changed here. Obviously, Dean Henderson doing well for us. McCarthy hasn't changed at all. Solanchu is still remaining at decent price. Trent Alexander-Arnold's price is ridiculous. Lundstrom is finally dropping down, but he's still got value for us because he was 4.0 at the beginning of the season. Willy Bolly has not changed. Sidibe has gone down, but that's just because of the bad fixtures coming up, which isn't too bad. It's not the end of the world. We obviously have Salah and Mane with our ridiculous sell prices that we have for them right now. Harvey Barnes we got in at 6 million. De Bruyne is still doing fine. Char we've gotten decent value off. Calvert-Lewin good value. Ings we got him in, and Jimenez we've already made money on as well. So not looking too bad. Just Sidibe is the kind of overall the bad one there. But yeah, overall I think this is what the team's gonna be. Make sure to check out the VOD if you happen to miss it. over on the YouTube channel, PilotFlame226. It's down in our Twitch description. You can also follow us on Twitter as well to make sure you get all the updates on when we go live for various different streams, not just FPL. We're going to be doing a stream later tonight for other content as well. And if you follow us or put the notification bell on for YouTube, you'll be able to see when that content does go live and when it is available. Hope you all have a good FPL game week. In game week 28, a blank game week, and hopefully the quality of your team shows through in the less and not as appealing fixtures for this game week. It's been Pilot Flame, and hope you all have a happy FPL game week 28, and I'll see you in the next one.